Jeffrey, thanks for joining. You've been doing this stuff for a long time. We're here to talk about implementation and readiness and kickoff activities. Before we jump in, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience in the ERP implementation world.
Yeah, I've been involved in ERP implementations or ERP of some sort for 20, 30 years now in some form or another, and a lot of implementation work across different industries and different platforms and different size projects. So have a lot of passion for the implementation space.
So you're not only practice lead, you're hands-on with many of our clients running many implementations of all shapes and sizes. One of the things we often get asked is, what does the first chunk of an implementation look like? What should companies do to get ready and what's in front of them? So pass it over to you, and why don't you share your experience?
Yeah, if you look at the first sort of 90 days of an implementation, you're often going to find activities that are focused on the design phase of a project and moving towards the build or configuration phase. And they're going to be things like process definition and requirements alignment with the new ERP platform, getting your core team educated on the new platform so that they can hit the ground running and be beneficial as you get into the project. You will move in with the partner or vendor you're working with. You'll move into configuration and build activities. You'll also start talking about data migration. Data can never be started soon enough. And then you're going to move towards getting prepared for the next phase of the project in this first 90 days, which typically is some form of testing. In order to get ready to even start that first 90 days, there's a lot of pre-work that can be very valuable to keep the first 90 days running smoothly and effectively and prepare your team in being as effective as they can through these first portions of the project. One is clearly setting the governance structure and the policies of the organization, the team, the executive committees, and understanding how decisions will be made and project will be tracked. This can all be done before you ever get to the implementation, and should be, because people and on your team should be well aware of it. You can spend a lot of time leading into an implementation, getting your legacy data as clean as you can get it. You're going to start touching data very quickly and start talking about migrating data early in the project. And the cleaner it is and the more ready you are to move that data, the more efficiently you can start to move in the data migration activities. Another thing that you really want to prepare for ahead of starting the project is, what are the non-negotiables in your business? What are the things that are critical differentiators for your business, where you're going to want to really challenge what comes out of the box with your new ERP, with ultimately areas that you might need the software to come closer to you as a business. But going into it with that defined list gets you into a very good position to start to work with the vendor in what can you adapt to and out of the box, or what do we need to bring the software closer to the business. Educating your core team on what an implementation is, preparing them for the project. Many of these core team members and key members that you'll use in the project, they maybe have never done a project like this. So educating them on the approach and the skills that you expect from them and what's expected of their roles. So it's really that education and mobilization activity that we talk about. Probably the last key piece that's going to be right in front of the starting the project is going to be all the detailed project scoping and planning that ultimately aligns with a very clear scope and definition for the project that then can be laid out on a timeline and plan. The plan will evolve over the life of the project, but you need to start with a very solid plan that's based on the scope you've agreed to, and ultimately your implementation partner is aligned in helping you deliver. And the first 90 days becomes incredibly critical. If that goes well, you're going to be off and running in a very positive way.
So let me summarize, and I do have a follow-up. So it sounds like we got to get the governance structure set up so that we can drive the project effectively. We got to get ready for migrating data. We're going to be mapping processes, setting up the system. Sounds like a lot of work. And it sounds like there's work on the consulting team and there's work on the client side as well. How much time should a company expect its people to spend on the front end activities?
Leading into the project itself, you could be spending somewhere between 30 and 50% of your time as you get closer and closer to the start of implementation, especially for those key users that you would call your core team, the people you're going to rely on to be the business team members and even technical team members as you get into the implementation, because they're going to be doing a lot of these activities in educating themselves and preparing themselves to get into it. So it's not out of line to think 30 to 50% of their time could be utilized. Even moving into implementation, a best practice that we would always say is to attempt to backfill people and take them out of their day jobs and leverage them 100% on the project. If you can do that even prior to the start, all the better, because your people will be in a much better position to start the project.
Jeffrey Stevens, wonderful insights as always, from boots on the ground, in the trenches projects. The first 90 days are critical. You want to get your organization set up and you want to get people freed up in their day jobs to be off and running, doing data migration, doing training activities, and actually sitting down and designing new processes and testing those things out. For Jeffrey, I'm Jonathan Gross with Pemeco. Thanks for spending a bit of time with us.